Hi, greetings. I'm C. Neeraj Mittal from G Inditure Consulting, India. The whole idea for this presentation today is to explain the compliance of ESG and how it can be strategically aligned to the future vision and act as a lever for the future performance of the banks and companies. As you know, ESG compliance has become mandatory for banks with the order of Central Bank of Iraq in 2024, and now in 2025 with the order of ISC, Iraq's Securities Commission. All the companies registered on the stock exchange are required to comply with ESG. We need to understand one thing out here. ESG is not just a tick in the box or a compliance. It's something which is your strategic activity and would define and shape the future of the bank and the companies. Well, it can shape your bank's performance, investors' confidence, and things allied to that. So the whole idea of this presentation is to highlight the problems in the ESG compliance and how CFOs should strategically align ESG with the larger goal of the banks and make it as a profit lever. So with this, I would like to dive into the next slide and explain that how ESG can be leveraged as a profit lever, as a performance lever. Often ESG gets reduced to selecting some KPIs, engaging a consultant, submitting the report, and move on. Means more procedural and just a tick in the box. But this misses the real potential and point of ESG. The KPIs chosen must reflect your strategic goals, investors' positioning, and profitability levels. That's where most of the banks go wrong. Not in intention, but in alignment. I should emphasize here that if done right, ESG enhances your ability to attract capital, reduce your future funding cost, and improve your brand's reputation. But of course, for that, your ESG framework needs to be embedded and aligned to the future goals of the bank and not just an implementation of few KPIs. It must link clearly to the metrics which investors actually care about. So to summarize, we can say that we go beyond ticking the regulatory boxes. Our goal is to help you turn your ESG into a tool for strategic visibility to the funding bodies, international investors, and of course the regulators. Whether it's alignment with central bank's guideline or ISC guidelines or broader frameworks like your IFRS or TCFD, etc., we bring in the consulting to support. I'm happy to inform that we work with banks end to end. That is, right from the identification of the right KPIs. Of course, a lot of strategic consulting goes into alignment and selection of the KPIs, aligning it to their internal strategies, investors' goals, etc. And lot many factors, like materiality and all comes into play. And once your KPIs are finalized, then moving on to the phase of automating it using various tools, of course, depending upon the readiness of your data, availability of your data, data audits, and selection of the right tools, that how you can automate this. Of course, a lot of consulting goes into this and understanding the previous, current, and the future aspirations of the bank and what shall be the best fitment. And then finally, Assimilating it in the form of dashboards and reports where you can track your KPIs and also do your compliances. So it's an end-to-end service right from the time of discussing the KPIs till the time of its implementation and final reporting. Well, it's something more strategic, not just a parallel process. So now let me ask you, is ESG still just a reporting requirement of your bank? If yes, then it's time to revisit your approach. Let's have a short discussion on how you can extract more value from ESG, of course, before the deadlines of the outcomes starts dominating. So book a 30 minutes call, scan the link below, and let's discuss on the framework or a roadmap on how we carry out the compliance of ESG, not only in terms of regulatory compliance, but aligning with the future to make the bank future-proof, to enhance the best of the bank's future.